Oh, hold on, we're live already. Just one second, I need to share the link. This is slightly different.
I'm looking for
Do
the
I share? Copy.
man trying different things. Values, just in case. If one doesn't work,
Here is the link to the live stream.
so
Okay. So we are live.
live.
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي واجعل لي وزيرا من أهلي هارون أخي اشدد به أزري وأشركه في أمري كي نسبحك كثيرا ونذكرك كثيرا إنك كنت بنا بصيرا وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم ربنا اغفر لنا وارحمنا وأنت خير الراحمين آمين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Now we can straight away start with the chapter we are going to study, inshallah, from the first verse of the chapter, Kafiroon, Deniers. Yeah. The between, I have seen other translations as well, not the word Kafiroon as deniers, but unbelievers or this kind of thing. What is the difference? Unbeliever and denier.
I think denying constitutes that you have to first be aware of what the truth is and then consciously rejecting it.
Mm.
Unbelief to me kind of means that you don't believe in something because you don't know about it or know of it. So it's consciously rejecting no truth, or I don't even know if it's rejecting. It's consciously being ignorant of what you don't know.
Unbelief.
Yeah.
Do you think one side of unbelief is this? I didn't think of it in this way, but it was a good option to think about. Kafir, you know, that covers up the truth. Yeah, covers up the truth. It must be done. That's the point. Denier and the kafir goes together knowingly. Yeah. Unbelief, whereas in English, unbelief, for example, if you narrate something to me, I may say, I don't believe that because it is, to me, it is not true. To me, it is not true. In English, unbelief. Am I wrong? Or for example, somebody tells me this, yeah, he thinks and says, no, it can't be true, no. But not necessarily that this person knows the truth and denies it consciously. The word in English, unbelief. So kafir is not unbeliever. Kafir is deliberate denier.
I just don't know if you can say not true because that is there's a slippery slope from that to saying it is false.
Yeah, because unbelief, the word unbelief does not really necessarily include in it that knows the truth and denies it. That's why to make the distinction, we should know that when Quran deals with, in the Quranic language, kafir or Kafiroon or kufur means knowingly and deliberately rejecting it. But knowledge is not belief. We keep saying this. Knowingly rejecting something, that he feels that this is true, but I don't want to submit to it. I don't want to admit its truthfulness, admit that it is true. So we have to understand that not everybody does not approve Islam or the Quran or oneness of God is a kafir in the language of the Quran. We don't know whether he may know and doesn't want to submit, which will be denier, or he may not know, which will be unbeliever. So have you ever not used the word, no, I don't believe that? For example, this person is a bad one. No, I don't believe that. It means I don't have enough evidence to reject that it is not true, but it may be true, I don't know. But as far as I know for the moment, I deny it. So, قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ. The first verse, they say, O you who are deniers of truth. What is that? Who are deniers the truth. Or Kafiroon, yeah. Well, I know the problem is there. I think who are deniers of the truth, yeah? In English, which one is truth? Correct. Of the truth, yeah? Or who you deny the truth, but the Quranic language is not yakfurun, it is kafirun. It means you are deniers of the truth. So by definition, as Qasim said, this person must be aware of it. If something is aware, or if somebody is aware of something, you may say that if he is aware that it's the true thing, is there any way for this man to deny it? What is your answer? Is it possible for a man? This is true, but I want to deny it, but I am aware that it's true.
No.
You said no? What did you say?
I think it's possible.
Possible, yeah, because I don't want. For example, those people, especially Orientalists, but with bad intention, when they study the Quran, or the politicians, or missionaries on purpose, not ordinary people, the people who see themselves at mission, I have to reject this one and promote something, whatever he is promoting. If you bring up a matter, a subject, he thinks about it. How can I oppose it so that my claim will be true or will remain true? Do they do that? Politicians? Do they do that? Sorry? Oh, yeah. I think you are very well aware of it. That's why yes, of course. So what they do, for example, opposing politicians, let's say arguing or having a debate with each other, what do? They listen to each other in order to find the faults in it so that they will reject. So if we understand the word as it is, according to my conviction, meant by the Quran, not many people are deniers. although they may not identify themselves as believing in God or as believers. For example, if you are presented the belief in God or in a religion or in anything that you are exposed to it as that you have to believe in it. That somebody offer to you something, but for any reason, not because of your bad intention or somebody's bad intention, for any reason, Alex, for any reason, you present it the way, most probably out of ignorance, in any way that this presentation does not make sense to you. If you reject it, but in fact, what is presented to you in its essence, in its kernel, it is true. But the way it is presented to you in any way, I don't know. Maybe the examples were wrong, or the the way it is presented is wrong, or the person is not able to do the job properly, or because of your previous understandings prevent you from understanding the truth conveyed in it. And you say, no, it doesn't make sense. I don't accept it. So you are not a denier. Just, I don't know what is that. Are you confirmer? No. Are you a denier? No. But misinformed. Most of the people, don't you see that? Most of the people, especially in this land, nearby land, they don't know what belief in God is, really. They don't know what the Quran is telling them. So can we treat them as deniers?
Can I say something? Well, I think there are two ways to look at this. One is from a relative sense. So you said someone who is presented with the truth in its essence, but presented in a wrong way, or presented in a way where the person just doesn't understand it. If they're consciously rejecting the mispresentation of the actual truth, then relatively they are not denying it, because they're not denying the real truth.
Yeah.
But outside of the relative sense, in essence, they are rejecting the truth. It's just that it's mispresented.
Yeah. But can you call this man a denier?
No, just as how I had trouble understanding how one can deny something ever, because if I know, let's say you say this is a phone, and I look at it and I'm consciously rejecting it. In the essence, there's no way I can deny it, because if I know it is a phone, I can't.
If you know it, you are not a denier. But yes,
I can
if you know,
I can reject the idea. So then, in a relative sense, I can say, okay, no, it's not a phone. I can go about arguing and arguing, and like you said,
looking for an excuse not to accept it. That is denier.
Yeah, but the moment you know the truth,
Yeah, you're
not really a denier.
Oh,
How
no.
can you be a denier?
Oh, that is the problem. That's what I wanted to make the distinction. Knowing the truth has nothing to do with belief or non-belief. Knowing the truth. Knowledge is nothing to do with belief. Knowledge is nothing to do with belief. That's very interesting. Yeah. Well, to me, when I look at the narrations by certain people, let's not put a label, by certain people, and translate the word, right? I recently, just yesterday, I read it. just yesterday. What was it? Oh, I can't remember. I said deliberately use the word in translation of the Quran, a verse from the Quran, instead of, I don't know, I couldn't remember now. Instead of using a right meaning of it in the context of the verse and the whole context, he used a side meaning of the word, which is war. And he has jumped onto the war and used in the translation war, as if Islam is accepting or propagating war in any rate. For example, I remember. Now, there is an we have to be careful. But in Arabic, you know that Darul Harb, Darul Islam. Now, Darul Harb is the field or the country, Darul Harb, the area of war. Darul Islam is the area where peace is prevalent. Now, what he took this deliberate person, Darul Harb is where Islam is not prevalent or ruled by Muslims. What does it mean? Automatically, all of the earth becomes Darul Harb. It means the area of, or the, how do you say, field, area, Dar, sorry?
Region?
No. Region, Harb, war. It means, for the moment, at the moment, there is no place on earth where Islam is administratively prevalent and practiced. Everywhere is war. So justifies what? You can kill anybody, because in other verses, Quran says you can kill them wherever you find them. But if you translate Darul Harb as saying that where the battlefield is active, where the real war is going on between believers and non-believers, this is called Darul Harb, or the place, but not anywhere where the Islam is not in administrative power. Justifies the whole word for an addressee of the Quran becomes that you can kill anybody you find anywhere. Just changing one word, instead of saying the battlefield or where there is a hot war going on, just says where Islam is not prevalent. Do you see the trick? Am I clear? But this person, I know his Arabic is really, really more powerful, and he knows Arabic language better than the Arabs who are studying Arabic literature. He's a very famous man. He's a very, very powerful man in his knowledge-wise. He knows it, he doesn't want to accept it. Wants to present it. That is called here in the kafir. It means non-believer. Now, another side of this verse, the first verse, the Quran doesn't says kafara. You ayyuhan ya ayyuhan nasu. Not ya ayyuhan nasu. Ya ayyuhal ladhina kafaru. He could have used it. That the verb form. But here is not verb form, but how do you say it? Active pronoun, is it? Active pronoun, the one who does it. For example, if I say, I am a plumber, how do you say this plumber is active something in the grammar, English grammar language. اسم فاعل. Active. Sorry?
This might be analogous to Arabic.
Sorry?
This might be analogous to what you said earlier.
But there is a verse, there is an equivalent of it in English. Anyway, it means, for example, if I say, I am a plumber, this is my current state. But do I have to be doing plumbing now, repairing plumbing things? I am a plumber and I may be sleeping. I am a plumber. You are an engineer. Are you doing an engineering now?
No.
But you are an engineer. Your profession is this. It means that is your title. You assumed it. Whenever you have the opportunity, you can do it, you will do it. Now at once. It is your, if you like, the second nature, if you like. Now, the Quran says Kafiroon in plural. Did you get it? Okay, doesn't matter. Just why my curiosity. Active participle, active participle, passive participle.
Active voice.
The active voice, active participle. Yeah. So kafir. If it was makfur, for example, it will be passive participle. I think so. Anyways, this is not the point here. We are not studying English language here. I always want to learn. That's why my attention went away to this direction. So deniers means it is to deny the truth. It's somebody whose profession is to deny the truth. I'm an engineer means what? My profession is to do engineering. Now, even I am not doing now, but it is my profession. Whenever I want, I can do it because this is my. If someone assumes denying attribute as a profession, his whole life is corrupt.
So,
do you get it? Do you get the difference? No? Okay.
I get the difference. I just don't agree. At least in the past and even for now, my understanding is that you said earlier, like to know is not to believe, right? But in order to know something, you are convinced when you know of it, right? Again, this is a phone. I am convinced that this is a phone, right? So I know that this is a phone. Now,
you are aware that it's a phone.
At a superficial level, if I say this is a brick, right? At a superficial level, I'm presenting this in a completely rejected.
Why do you do that? That's the reason why. You need to explain.
Well, that's like you said, you were quoting examples of other people in the past who have had missions to spread a particular message in a particular way. And that happens now, even irrespective of which side is misinterpreting or mispresenting the truth.
Deliberately, knowingly, yes. In a very basic human conversation, sometimes ego gets in the way and you're like, no, I do not want to admit that I am wrong, even though you know that you are wrong. Now, I understand human beings are complicated, but at the surface level, you can reject something for any other reason, but deep down inside, you know that you're rejecting the truth. So the moment you know that that is the truth, at a belief level, you cannot be denying it.
At a presentation level, yes. And just to add a little bit more to it, if this whole logic was reversed and I said, okay, I am a Muslim, I fast, I don't eat food from this time to this time, right? At a belief level, none of that stuff applies, right?
Okay, but I think case is understood. There is a mistaken concept there used in the Quran. When the Quran used, I think we have to know this kind of basic things. When the Quran use the word amana or mu'min, it means definitely mu'min billah, something to do with belief matters. But I may tell a lie. I am not denying the reality that God is the owner of this universe, but I am just weak, falling into a mistake, making a mistake, and I'm a fallible person. I made a mistake there. I didn't deny the fundamentals of belief. When the Quran uses, I am a believer, believe in God. When the Quran uses, all, for example, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, all those who believe, it means amanu billah, amanu bil yawm al-akhir, the fundamentals of belief. But those people who commit sin are not deniers. It is human weakness. You can make istighfar as long as you are a believer. If you are a believer, if you commit a sin, it means you made a mistake. When you make a mistake, you can ask for forgiveness. But for a denier, is there any way to ask for a forgiver? Is there any way for a denier to ask for forgiveness? Because he denies it, he doesn't admit. For asking for forgiveness in its nature is accepting that what he has done is wrong. It is true. So asking for forgiveness deletes the mistake you committed by its own nature, because you accepted that it should not be done, but you did it. When you accept it, that's the point. That's why the Quran guarantees that, but really genuine sins, asking for forgiveness, guarantees the deletion. Yes? That's why what we hear from the prophetic saying, from the Quran, but the Quran doesn't say you ask for forgiveness. It means admit that you did something wrong against the truth. You admit it. Can you be denier of the truth? That's what we should understand. That's what asking for forgiveness is equal to belief. So kafir is the opposite of believer. Kafir is denier of the fundamentals of the truth. Not every day we tell a lie. In our behavior, which is full of, in my behavior, it is full of lies, really. I know I shouldn't do that, I'm doing it, etc., etc. So, did we get this one? Denier, the kafir, must be understood in the sense of denying, and not many people who don't identify themselves as a believer, as believers in God and believers in Islam and the Quran, should be labeled with the word denier. It doesn't fit. Now, they are very rare people. We have to understand this. And also, it must be a profession of the person. That is also interesting, isn't it? Kafir is a profession. Engineer, doctor is a profession.
So you're aware that you're performing this
deliberately. That's a profession.
Right.
Looking for every opportunity to reject the truth. Now, if someone doesn't accept or doesn't assume the profession of denying, but it was he was politically engaged in his mind and said, you are wrong, the believing in God or believing in Islam, whatever is wrong, so rejects you, your belief, and you too, in a competitive manner. Especially, I hate debating. It is very misleading. Have you ever seen any debaters agree at the end? Have you seen?
No.
Agreeing with each other? Who are they? I'm surprised.
Look in the academic scenes when you actually.
While they are debating?
Well, at the end of, it's a very rare.
But very rare. So mostly a Christian is here, generally speaking, or an atheist, and I believe it's a person who claims to be representing Islam or belief in God. When they are debating, what do? They listen to each other in order to find the faults. For example, during this debate, although he realized that although this man said something is right, but let me twist this word and make it against him. But after the debate, he says, it wasn't really right. This man was right on that at that point, but I couldn't accept. This is not a denier, although he knew and denied it at a certain time. It's a profession. This is not a profession. So come to this now. Really, in the word, the Quran says, Kafiroon, deniers. We have to understand this word first in order to understand the rest of it. Because what will happen? Say, oh, you are deniers of the truth. And what is he going to say now? All the following verses should assume the meaning of first verse, denier. What do you understand from denier? According to you will understand the following verses. It is essential. That's why we are spending a long time on it. So if it is a profession, so let us put this one. He will know the truth and deliberately deny it, not to accept it, and it will become his own profession. How many people have you seen in your life like this? Yes, I have seen. Because I was educated in Orientalist department for a certain time, 6 years or so. So I've seen many deliberately playing with the hadith narrations and deliberately narrating it, and knows hadith much better than I do. And the context is nothing to do with it, but it puts the text out of its context of this Arabian people, desert people, uneducated people, and the Prophet is teaching them with metaphors and other ways of simplifying the subject and making it in a symbolic form so that these uneducated people can grasp it somehow. He deliberately takes it as a literal meaning. And thanks to some scholars, Muslim scholars, who follow any text literally, they justify it. Look, this alim, the scholar in Islamic not academia, learned among the learned people, Muslim people, scholars of Islam, they also say the same thing, but takes deliberately either mostly, or just it's an example I can give you to bear in mind. Mostly narrations of the historians, they love it because historians tell everything, without investigating. That's not the way they hear. They say, narrate. So deliberately take the sources written by historians. And secondly, they love it. They love it, I can tell you. If anybody wants to study Islamic studies or something, they should be really very aware. They love it if you study the text, either hadith or the Quran, literally. They can give you scholarship, everything. Be careful. So, anyways, got denier. What we understand now, denier. Come to the first word. Say. Okay, who's going to say? Huh? Qul. The Quran says, say. What is the definition of the Quran? We discuss about it from many aspects. One of them is, it is an eternal speech of my Creator. Now, as far as I am concerned, the Quran is the speech delivered to me, a discourse delivered to me right now. It says, say. Okay, I'm going to say. What shall I say? What does it mean? Say has mainly two different in the Quranic language. Think about it, come to a conclusion, and it will be your conclusions. Whenever you have the opportunity, you will speak in your language according to this conclusion. Say, not like a papa. I'm confusing the languages actually. Parrot, sir, papa, and parrot. So, okay, I think you got it. So, parrot. The say doesn't mean this. The Prophet is saying the Quran. They both are full of this. They say, you say, this vocabulary. Kul, kul, kul. So, kul doesn't mean just put it in your tab. It must be the result of your conclusion. So when you want to utter, when you want to express your conclusion, you will use this language, but definitely it must be your conclusion. If it is not, if it is not your conclusion and say it, it doesn't mean really what the Quran says say. That is very important. What we do, we copy paste what the Quran says. When it says say this, we say yes. Yeah. For example, say Qul hu wallahu qul huwa Allahu ahad. Now say, oh, what's going on to me? I worked on a very hard paper today in Turkish, so I said something in Turkish. Say, he is God, who is Ahad. One, absolute. No, peerless, if you like, unique. So, okay, I say, Allahu Ahad. Does it count at all?
No.
That's what I said. He said, say, no, it doesn't count. Here is the same. So, say means study this, reflect on it, understand, and that will be your language now. Otherwise, just repeat. Just repeat. What I am saying is not the way to speak to a conscious human being. We understand that. So when you say, especially in hadith, if something happens, the Prophet says to the people that are, say this. But we have to understand that everybody's comprehension capacity is not the same. Some people cannot do more than repeating what he or she heard. That is them, but none of us here belongs to this group of people who cannot do more than just saying. We can reason, we can question, we can come to a conclusion, and then we can put it in our language when we utter the conclusion. It will be in our speech. So don't compare yourself with other people. Now, think about yourself. If someone says, say this, if you don't think about it without saying, oh, this man said to me that I should say this, I am going to say this, without realizing, do you do that in your daily life? Any subject. What do? You think about it. Ah, yeah, that's correct. And you use the language. So it means, say means think. Do you understand? Whether you can approve the following words, deliberately reflect on it. And if you can approve it, you can put it in your language. If you can not approve it, you cannot repeat what I am saying like a parrot. Parrot also can say everything. The best word or the worst. So the owner of the parrot is a bad person. Let's say he's teaching something bad words to the parrot to make jokes to his friends. So parrot is innocent. He doesn't know what he's saying. But a human being is not a parrot. We have to understand that. Say means, one meaning of the say, the explicit meaning of the say means think, reflect on it, come to a conclusion. If you agree, then use what I'm going to say. We understand. It is valid for us. But don't go and tell this to any person who cannot really reflect on any subject at all. They don't know how to reflect. They are not educated in any ways. So don't do the same thing to them, but at the same time, don't put yourself in their position. Treat yourself as if you are totally illiterate, ignorant man, uneducated, nothing, be aware of nothing. Don't cheat yourself at the same time. This is one apparent meaning of it. How about not apparent meaning, but in intimate meaning or inner meaning? Let's put it in inner meaning. Say means the speaker is giving a mission to somebody. Yeah. So let's say the president calls the ambassador in, let's say, Yemen, and say, go and tell the president of Yemen. I don't know why Yemen came to my mind. Okay, doesn't matter. Go tell to the president of Yemen. Even I don't know whether there is a president or king, or I have no idea. Say this. Say this. It means giving a mission, duty on somebody. Now, that's very interesting. When the Quran says say, it means, look, the speaker, by definition, is the creator of the universe. Look, by definition. It means God. We call it God, or in religious language, it's called God. God is giving a mission to somebody, something. Isn't that true? Say. It means, oh, I am appointing you to say this. It means as if appointing somebody to get position of the real speaker and function among the people with this position. What reminds you? Necessity of, if the Quran says kul, it means say, necessarily what it refers to? Messengership. Now, it is a hinting, if you like, or deeper meaning that I have appointed messengers to transfer the message by saying kul. Is it clear? Everybody is clear about it. Now, to me, because it is an eternal speech. Yeah? Al-kalam al-azali. So coming from ilm al-azali, eternal knowledge. So, okay, and is God employing me? Is that with a mission, or giving me, endowing me a mission now, saying that, look, Ali, when I'm reading it, Ali, now we understood kul means what? Reflect, think about it, confirm it, and transfer this message to the people. So, not as the one who receives the revelation, but as the one who is the addressee of the revelation. Everybody is appointed to a mission. Reflect, understand, confirm, and say to others as well. Explain. It means every human being is a caliph. What does it mean? Caliph represents the central or the highest authority. Yeah. And it is a deputy of the president of the universe, if you like. That's why every human being is an addressee of the Quran who receives the mission. If you like, they call it ambassador of the creator of the universe, every human being. But the Quran says, yeah, I created human being as my ambassador on earth who will distribute or deliver my message to others. For this reason, the Quran the Quran itself reminds us that, you know what? I created you with a capacity, with an ability to get to know all my secrets. What does it mean? So that you are aware of my secrets now, breathing from his own spirit into you, that is your spirit. And from one aspect, you have received the qualities of your creator. I think the subject is becoming finer now, subtle a little bit. You have received your qualities of your creator in you as not the authority, but as origin of the authority, but appointed. Caliph has this meaning at the same time. Appointed to represent the center power, or the how do you say center power? Real power? Okay, sorry?
To represent the supreme power.
Supreme power, whatever. I mean, the origin of the power.
The core, essential part, is that what you're saying?
No, not in this sense. With the origin of everything. It may be a sense, it may be a wrong word.
Power.
So, origin of everything. So, appointed. That's one thing. And another verse tells that I have taught you human beings in the name of Adam all my qualities. Where? In your spirit, which I have breathed in you. So everybody carries what? Everybody is an ambassador of the truth. How valuable we are. And also, yes, we are very precious, valuable, but it is from one aspect, we can say that, look, I am ambassador of, let's put it, what is the I don't know, let's call this, they politically call it, America is the superpower, you are the ambassador of America in everywhere. Can you imagine? Ambassador General. Ah, but at the same time, it's a big responsibility. Are you conveying the message? But in order to convey the message, what was the first requirement?
Recognize.
Yeah. Understand, reflect, digest, and learn what it is and accept it. Not reject. Accept it and be brave to accept the truth and work for it. So from one aspect, everybody says human beings are superior over angels, taking literally from the Quran. Well, to a certain extent, it contains the truth in it, but not the whole truth. We have to study that kind of verses. But at the same time, people will say that you are proud of your being man. I'm superior. Yeah, in my creation, I am given the potentiality to be superior over the angels. But am I using it? If I'm not using it, this superiority becomes, again, in the language of the Quran, worse of the verse. It's philosophically. The worst of the worst. Why? You have been given, let's say, millions of, it is not important, but dollars, example, worldly sense, millions of dollars, distributed to others, you do nothing. What does it mean? It is worse than not having it at all. But if you use it, really it's a big value. In the right way, it's a big value. So from one aspect, yes, in our nature, the way we are created, we are superior over all creation. From another perspective, it's a big responsibility that if we don't fulfill it, we fail and become worse of every creature. That's why it is possible for us to fluctuate between the highest level to the lowest level. That's why the paradise and hell equally are prepared for whom? We say for Satan, no, for human beings. Why? You can go to the up point, the top point, or lowest point. So we have to be careful what we are carrying, whether we are really paying due respect to our quality or just wasting it. Oh man, it is very heavy. In Ramadan, everybody is hungry and tired because hunger doesn't make you really powerful. So don't worry, I'm speaking so that I'm concentrating on the subject as well. I don't feel asleep, but you may, as a listener like that, especially quiet listeners. No question, no rejection. No, I'm not looking at you. Do your mission. But really, it is hard this time. Anyway, a few weeks are left only, don't worry. But we have to understand that we are carrying in our existence a very precious treasure. We may gain what this treasure is worth. We may lose. For example, you carry the treasure, let's say chest or whatever, bag, and you don't use it, throw it into the garbage. You don't use it. Which one is worse? Somebody throws into the, or dumps the $1 into the garbage. Somebody throws the treasure chest into the garbage. What do you say?
Treasure chest.
Yeah, it's obvious, isn't it? So we are this treasure. That's what some literature in Islamic tradition Use human beings then a treasure box, treasury, not treasure, treasury box. Everybody. So if you remember, it is very interesting. In the story of David, so this Goliath, Jalut, how do you say it? Goliath. Yes, Goliath. Thank you. So now it sounds correct. Goliath, and the army commander he assigned has in the story Talut. It's called Talut, but this is very, very powerful scenario. Very powerful. The strength of the commander appointed by David is the sign of his strength is called a chest carrying the treasures or the leftovers of Moses, pieces of Torah. Do you understand? And very interesting. It's amazing. Inshallah, Allah will give us lifespan to cover this kind of things. Carrying the pieces or fragments of Torah, and be careful, but this chest is you. That's why you have to be careful. This value, he's aware of it. Fragments of the revelation plus peace in it. What? And this chest, tabut, that's what? Dawood, Talut, Jalut, Tabut, these are symbolic names to me, just rhymed with each other. Anyways, represents something. The tabut is called chest, all right? This chest includes in it fragments of revelation, what God speaks to human beings, that's one. And the second, peace. Yeah? Do you remember the verse? No? No? With sakina. The word is sakina. I got it. Don't worry. No, shall I remember? Sakina. Sakina means calmness, serenity, tranquility, without taking the tranquility pills. Tranquility without pill, assistance of the pill. Being in peace with your own existence. And this chest is carried by, in the Quran, angels. Can you imagine it? Human character is described there. Yeah, it's this man who carries the revelation from God, the Spirit, and it makes him feel in peace with the rest of the creation. No conflict at all. They don't see anything conflicting, contradicting each other. Everything is in harmony with the language of certain tradition. Again, everything is my brothers. We are brothers. Mountains, clouds, I don't know, atoms, everything, animals, trees are your brothers. You are brothers belonging to the same family. Beautiful. And we are in peace. And carried by angels means in its nature, never ever disobeys, contradicts the will of its creator. It means not praise and fasting, no. Don't misinterpret anything created other than the purpose that those things are created for. Did you understand? So no contradiction at all. So carried by angels, it means really angelic side of our creation is completely 100% compatible with the creation of the universe. So it brings what? Everything is as you want. Peace. Serenity. What did you say this one?
Tranquility.
Tranquility. Everything goes. I'm having this. We belong to the same source. Everything is functioning and fulfilling their mission perfectly. So this human being is now addressee of the Creator by one word. In Arabic, qul. In English, say. You are appointed. As you read the Quran, you are appointed with this mission. So how valuable human beings are. We have time, isn't it? Is it 7:03? No,
43.
43. Yeah. So, okay, we have until 8. So, all human being with this quality declare, but after being aware of what we are saying, all deniers. But we understood now to which kind of people we are addressing now. But of course, the Quran, in other things, when you use the Quran, a word which denotes certain group of people, not the group of people, their quality. But what makes a person a denier? Someone I spoke of, somebody should say, what makes a person a denier? The attitude-wise.
Attitude-wise, just knowing the truth but deliberately not accepting it.
Rejecting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what kafir means actually. Yeah, covering up the truth and pretending as if it is not the truth. But that is literal meaning, a very literal meaning. So this attitude represented by a person or not doesn't matter. We have to address to this attitude. Whoever falls in this description of the attitude, then it's called in the Quran the denier. But the purpose of the Quran is not the people we keep saying this in our discussions. Not a certain group of people that the speaker has in his mind, go and tell these people there, over there. No. If you want to speak to a person, don't look at the person, but analyze his attitude towards the truth. If a person has this attitude as you described, Fariha described, then knowingly denying the truth and insisting on it, making it a profession. To deny the truth is a profession. The Quran symbolizes this attitude with a name. Not necessarily the person, but it is valid now. You can distinguish this attitude in the personality of a person, Abu Lahab. Deliberately, because of the honor or the status in the society, when they hear the Quran, who is really distributing or delivering the message doesn't claim anything, doesn't say I'm going to be the leader of the community or anything. No, just admit that we are all created beings, we are all equal. That's it. Fundamentally, everybody is equal because all of us are created beings. But if someone doesn't accept that I am created, I am responsible for my creator, and look and search the purpose in my creation, rejects it. It doesn't want to see, if someone doesn't want to see it. Okay, good. I would like to take a breath. So.
I just wanted to ask, is a denier someone as equal to someone who's also a liar?
Yeah, but
They're not accepting reality.
deliberately lying about belief matters, not by mistake. Then you lie. I lie. Yeah, I lie many times a day in my behavior, in my action. But not this one. Fundamental belief matters. Deliberately, no. For example, purpose of creation. Yeah, the meaning of creation. So the source of the creation. What is the origin of this creation? So purpose of life. Yeah, I know, for example, that's a practical example. Now, I know that every atheist, including everybody, but atheists including, if I'm wrong, correct me. Man, this is your job. Now, because that's your subject. Every man feels that I want an eternal happiness in life, eternally happy. I love it if only I had it, right? But some people say, oh, if it is the case, it is in my reality, I want eternal happiness, there must be such a thing. Because I cannot claim that desire for eternal happiness cannot be the result of the air I breathe in or took in. Cannot the result of the food I ate, or they were all dead, boiled, and smashed. It is in us. Some people say, oh, there must be something, I must search for it. Some people say, this is a wishful thinking. No, there is no such thing. We made of it. Denier. You see? It is there. Is there anyone in the world who doesn't feel the need for eternal happiness? Not eternal life, huh? Because eternal life may be miserable by definition. Eternal life with utmost happiness. Who doesn't feel this, and that's why he says, no, there's no such a thing. Is it possible? My question. Not denying.
Can you rephrase that? I don't think I.
Okay. Somebody else. Oh, I'm free. Now, somebody else. Repeat it. Who have understood?
Is there anyone in this universe who would deny the fact that they need eternal happiness? Right?
They have this desire for it.
This desire, right?
Yeah, desire for it,
Mm-hmm.
but accepting or not accepting is another matter. Is there anyone, do you think? Or if only I have no illness in my whole life, and life it will be as young as I am, never getting old, and everything will be perfect. Then I wouldn't have any burden of doing anything at all, just entertainment, enjoy. Do you desire this? Yeah, it would be a good thing. Yeah? So atheists also say what they say, although we want it, but this is the influence of the outside society. Yeah? And it is not real. Deny it. It is there, but no, it's not real. Deny it. Do you understand? This is just denial, the best example of denial. All these people who say that this is a wishful thinking, there is no such a thing, but even you name it as a wishful thinking, is it with me?
Well, yeah, to answer your question, I don't think anyone can deny that, but people can kind of like what you said, they cannot accept it between themselves. They can't accept it or they cannot accept it. But
Not it is there.
maybe recognize it, not accept it, but recognize
But recognize means admit it is true. It is with me. It is in me. It is with me. It's my understanding. But they may not be able to describe it. Some people, that's up to them. But this is the very, very real human reality that we want this. So that is denial. So this attitude will be our, if you like, target to reject. And if we see something, when the Quran says, wherever you see the evil, kill it, it means tell this is true, explain it and kill it. Do you see what I mean? This idea, not the man. This is crazy to me. I don't know if you love it, whether you like it or you disagree. But we kill the man, but the characteristics of this man remains alive. What did he gain? Huh? What did he gain? But it's there. This ideology, this understanding, this attitude is still there, prevalent. Why do you interpret this killing as killing the body? But it doesn't help. I never understood that it helps me in any way. I don't know what is wrong with my understanding. So, but of course, we should be in the reality of our existence. If someone attacks your body and kill it, your property, to take it, you have to defend. It is in you as well. But defending your life, your property is correct. It is, if you like, quote unquote, natural. But declaring war against those people who do not accept your belief, do not agree with your belief, and try to kill them is not the solution at all. It's obvious, isn't it? Do you think Quran itself says, I am the speech of the creator of the universe? And do you think the speaker in the Quran will not be as wise as you and me? Do you understand this? Just obvious. To kill the man doesn't help you at all. You cannot go anywhere. You cannot succeed in fulfilling the message that you received from say. Say. It means, we understood that, cool. Say, understand, defend, and distribute it, disseminate it, deliver it, whatever you say. Right? So say means really stand for this idea. This attitude now are addressing, denying the truth or making the denial as a profession. I am emphasizing it, right? Making the denial of the fundamentals of the purpose of existence is a profession. As a profession, then this attitude will be your addressee and you will start speaking now. Any question before we rush into the verse 2? Yeah.
All these verses, this is dialogue between like Muslims versus like, what is this dialogue between? Like who is?
Did we study the other verses? Have we studied the other verses yet?
The previous ones?
No, but before the first, no, other than the verse 1. We studied 2 words.
Yeah.
Say and deniers. That's it. We didn't go anywhere.
Ah, okay.
It's not easy to read the Quran, my dear friend. We are reading the eternal knowledge speech. Not easy at all. I cannot really go further and further. So when we come there, ask your question and remember to ask. And after being explained the subject, if you are not satisfied, if you have an objection, anything, especially logical consistency wise, I love objections, challenging questions, but not saying that, look, I heard that Sheikh saying this, it doesn't work. or there's another verse saying this, doesn't work here. Narration doesn't work here. Quotations, citations from hadith, from the Quran, doesn't work here. Come with your conclusion. I understood this. What you said contradicts my understanding. I disagree. I love it. No quotation. Okay.
All right, so just a gist of what we, discussed thus far in terms of, our needs. So like recognizing that everybody recognizes I have this need for eternal happiness. There's no denying in that. But then I choose not to accept it. I choose not to accept that I recognize this need for eternal happiness.
Yeah.
And, yeah, right. But why? I'm thinking, why?
Why do we do that?
Yeah.
We say that. Do we do that? For example, I'm speaking on my behalf. When I reflect on it, ponder over my nature, I really love to have, as it is described in the Quran, paradise. Yeah, some people say heaven. Heaven means no trouble at all. If the earth is really the place of trouble, so burdensome, but heaven. So I need heaven. I need paradise in the language of the Quran. That's beautiful. Okay. Do I remember this reality of my need throughout my life 24/7? No, I don't. I just forget. Now, while I'm concentrating now, I say within myself, it's really true. It's really true. Why do I keep forgetting about it? Yeah? Now. But in reality, when we reflect on it, it is with us, with me. But we don't practice it. So, including ourselves, negligence of it. But those people who deliberately do it, they have hidden bias agenda. For example, we are the super nation, superpower in the world, for example, or you don't have to be. We don't have to speak about America, super nation, this kind of things. No. Every nation, every tribe, even in the world now, if you ask, they are the best people if they are not aware of reality. If you ask whoever the tribe, we are the best tribe. Yeah. And in a smaller scale, our families is the best. If you are not aware of it, just do this. It means the superiority claim is everywhere. It doesn't have to be in one superpower of the world, China or somewhere else. No, it's everywhere. Everybody has this potentiality to fall into the opposite side of our reality, because the world exists with what? One real object, and it is shadow. No, Shaitan represents the shadow. No, he gives real existence to it, but doesn't know that the shadow exists just because of what? The real object, real existing object. If there was no real object, existing object, there would be no shadow. That's why everybody, the Quranic language is so great, uses the Quran uses the shadow metaphor in a very beautiful way, making sajda. So it is interesting. Anyways, we have to understand that our reality is our reality. All the opposite side, because everybody lives in this world with his shadow or her shadow, but the lady's shadow is more
Shady shadow.
not really the strong, the weak, the shadow, not really. So everybody, you exist, your shadow exists. Inevitable, right? So you exist in the language of the Quran, your shaitan or my shaitan exists. It's inevitable. Definitely, alternative is also out there. We have to watch out.
So with that argument where every object has its shadow,
Yeah.
and here the preference, the word choice is.
It is a response to Fahrenheit's question. She said, why do we do that? There is real object, there is a shadow. And the two option is in front of us. One is, okay, welcome, man. So your brother? Yeah. One is either follow the real object, your reality, or your shadow option. Free will is given for us for this purpose. Okay, you are free to follow any of them. So they say God is patient, don't worry. God is patient, doesn't punish you immediately. You will feel it slowly, but real judgment, you are taken to the court. That judgment has been passed, verdict has been passed. So you are waiting. What is that? When the judgment day comes, and then indictment is decided, what do you do? I had it. But the Quran says, please be careful. Don't leave it to the last court hearing. So prepare yourself from now. Inshallah. Inshallah, I'm very happy that we covered two words of the first, which is the essence of it. Ayyuha is not really, not the essential language of the Quran or concept of the Quran. So we covered it with the most essential ones. I was afraid that we could remain only with one, but alhamdulillah, two. Next verses are easier now. We know where we are standing, and how are we going to deal with the content of the following verses? Because when you make your stand firm and clear, then you process rightly. It will establish the promise rightly, the logical consequence follow rightly. That's what we did today, inshallah. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم الحمد لله رب العالمين. Before I say بحرمة الفاتحة, we have 2 minutes for iftar. Whatever you do, pray or wait for iftar. I think they present, they offer iftar here. I don't know. I think so. Yeah, today also. So we can whatever. But Saturday at 11 o'clock we will have Saturday class here, and Wednesday classes are 7:30. So excuse me, 6:30. 6:30 here again in IC and Mayu. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah bi hurmatil Fatiha.
Sorry, click here. Click there.
Okay, finish. Okay.